Well, of course, it's the start, but I'll talk to her about how to do it.
How did you get here
Okay, sure, you get it
Because
out.
all the people in charge are gone.
today?
Sure, yeah.
One's on vacation and one decided to.
All right, thank you, Darren.
They didn't even know.
All right, you bet. Bye-bye.
And I don't know where the recorder thing is, but she does some stuff on that.
So you're by yourself today?
No, Leanne's in there.
There's only one person in the office.
On this one?
Just one person.
I think the payments should come out of the Memorial Fund. Because the vans were
You don't count those.
pre-county, y'all had the
Right.
vans.
Right.
So when the proceeds from
It was in our box yesterday, so I'm assuming it's a replacement. But,
No, what I saw was from the.
there's one in there though.
Yeah, Google Mail, no, it's just like when somebody asks you, it's people raise. It's like, so one drive, I don't know.
Oh, exactly. All right. Good. Well, then you sure have changed.
I know.
Where I bet. It is hot.
We're good.
Burgers and jelly.
Okay,
You got to stay in the pool most times. so.
there you go. That makes a big difference, doesn't it?
You can work.
Burgers and jelly. Grandkids.
Goes out there too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I've got 10 o'clock. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. So, thank you for another opportunity to become really in this business. We pray that you give us great wisdom in what we do. Thank you for the sacrifice that you made on the cross for each and every one of us. Help us to make the right choice. I pray that you would today bless our community. help us all to work together for the betterment of our community and keep it in your will. In your name we pray.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, at this time, any person with business before the court and not scheduled on the agenda may speak. No formal action will be taken on these items at this meeting. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes.
Morning, gentlemen. My hat is off to you in trying to manage the county's business because I know it's a very difficult task. You have a limited budget. You have to meet with the demands of the county as it needs to be done. The one thing, and I know you guys are probably addressing the budget in the near future, or possibly doing it now, is the fact that I know expenditures have went through the roof since before 2020. COVID has been blamed for everything. But the fact of the matter is, because I work for primary utilities, I deal with this every day, that expenditures have went through the roof on everything. It does not matter what you're buying. And I'm sure it's the same way with you guys. The fact that you have to buy fuel, you have to buy gravel, you have to buy materials for road repair and different things. I think it's in the county's best interest, and I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, that we need to look at rat holing as much money as possible. Because who would have ever predicted before 2020 that something like COVID would have shook our world, our county and our nation like it has? But it has, and things have not got better. Example, in the business I work in, a turbo for a truck used to run $2,000 or $3,000. Now they're over $6,000 and $7,000, and you have a 6-week, 8-week wait. And I'm sure you guys in procurement are having the same difficulties. I just feel like it's in the county's best interest to spend as little money as we have to, save as much as we can. So if we can cut expenditures in any way, shape, or form that we do not need, I feel like it's in our best interest as a county. And that is my statement.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Court to consider approval of court minutes, and I don't believe we have any. So we'll move on to court to discuss and consider interprecinct project schedule and staffing. And before y'all get into what you're doing, I've got some, I think it's great. We finally got approval for our grant. Everything's done with that. I'm gonna send all the paperwork to Angela so she has a copy of everything. Total approved was $285,200, and the approved federal share is $228,100. And of course, this is for their trails. So, after waiting a year for them to do all they needed to do, we are a go.
Awesome. That's good.
I'll be reaching out to y'all in the near future on things that we can plan for in the future. Not that I'll be expecting anything now or in the next couple weeks. So just planning. I'll get with y'all on the planning on it. I'm gonna have a meeting with all the volunteers and let them know where we're at. Just kind of see where they want to go to.
Plan on shooting oil in rock next week, hopefully. If we get it final bladed to M4156, if we get it done this week. Just water is an issue right now. We were getting it from Skyview when we ran out of water over there yesterday. So we're having to go further to get water now. So I'm shooting for priming it Monday and start shooting rock on Tuesday.
Anything else?
Y'all pray for Dan.
forgot to this morning, he doesn't have his results back, but they're thinking that it may have multiple myeloma. He's in the Hendricks Hospital over in Abilene, so just keep him in your prayers.
Okay, definitely. Okay, moving on to court to consider accepting donations to county entities. Wait a minute, I skipped board reports, didn't I? Yep, I sure did. Let's go back up to, presentation and discussion of department head committee and board reports. How are you, Tammy?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Lance, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. You have any thoughts or questions on the board reports?
Looks like everybody's working.
Getting quite a few of them now, that's good.
Okay, now we'll go on to, consider accepting donations to county entities. Senior Center got a total of $4,511 in donations. And the library, received books and DVDs, audio books, and magazines in donations. That's a fairly good month for
We
donations.
still are selling some of the briskets from May Day. We still have some of those, so it's coming in.
Okay.
Some of the residuals from May Day still.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So y'all, have quite a few left or just?
Yeah, we have a few left. Yeah.
Same here.
Okay, you want one?
I didn't know you had food there.
Yeah, we still have cooked brisket, $75 a pop. Cooked and ready to go.
And they're great.
I believe it.
I was gonna say, I might come get another one.
I'll slip down there.
Okay. Put you one back.
I make a motion, we approve for donations to the Senior Citizen Center and the library as presented.
All right. Second. All in favor? All right, thank you. All right, court discuss and consider renewal of interlocal agreement with the Regional Public Defender's Office. As you know,
every year.
yes, this is, for capital cases. We'll have one.
Ours is $4,000. That is cheap, because they can put you out of business.
Yeah, millions of dollars if you have to fight one.
Absolutely.
$4,022 on that one.
Judge, I make a motion that we renew the public defender's office.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Court to discuss and consider revised lease agreement with Toshiba. So, give you some background on this. When, we got the list from Visual Edge, it was an inaccurate list. Several that they showed that were black and white were actually color. There were 2 scanners that we had to add, because it's an all-in-one desktop, basically. So this is cleaning that up and fixing it. The original amount was $2,650 and it's changed to $2,880.76 a month. And that's still about half of what we were paying before to get these cleaned up, so. Are y'all okay with revising this contract?
Judge, I make a motion that we revise the contract according to what we have here today, and that you will be able to sign it for the court.
Okay. All in favor?
We get a copy of the contract.
Court to consider bids for senior center vans. We didn't get any.
So now what do I do with them?
Is that what you're looking
I'll get back with you and
for?
we'll
You got that.
start talking about.
Purple wave.
Yeah. Now we need that, we're gonna need the other items also, because my understanding is they want big equipment as well. they don't think it's worth setting up without bigger equipment. So it was something that they can actually.
Don't know if we have any.
Doesn't need to look.
These vans also were with the senior center before the senior center became under county, so, the revenue or anything from that goes to the senior center memorial.
Okay.
If we would have sold them,
Right.
we would go there, but something we need to keep in mind, they're not county owned, really, they're the senior centers.
Okay.
Since we've run them through and tried to auction them, can we put a for sale sign on them now, or do they still have to go through auction?
I need to look in the LGC on the full disposition law on that. It does have a statement about if we've tried, but I think you should try again. But I'll double check the LGC on disposition.
I think you have to keep trying. I don't know how much, we'll see.
I think you have to try at
Could
least one more and then you can salvage it or dispose of it, because you can legally send them to the salvage yard at that
Yes.
point. So you can send them to the salvage yard.
Yeah.
Why can't you sell them?
Right.
But, let me do some checking and I will get back with you.
But, even then, we could go out for bids and sell them for something more than what the salvage yard was gonna give them. Possibly. You'll find out, yeah. But we don't have to accept it.
And they are both still running, so,
Okay.
What model are
pardon me?
they? What model are they?
2005 GMC and a 1998 Chevrolet.
Somebody buy it, maybe for not a whole lot,
Maybe more than one. It's not our middle. Maybe.
All right. Court discuss and consider classification of employee in the county attorney's office. So, as we talked about during the budget session last time, Mike has, a family member working in his office. He cannot and, has not tried to promote her. That falls on us, to be able to change the classification or, change, salary on that. So, we did it for the, so far in the talks, we discussed that for the 2024 budget, but do we want to do anything for the 2023 budget? It's been 2 years since she's basically taken over the responsibilities of the, I don't remember the name of the classification. It's not a chief deputy, it's.
Chief deputy.
Is it chief deputy? Okay. Okay, I was thinking it was something different.
My opinion, regardless of what you call it, or classification, if you're doing the job that was done previously for a different salary than what she was getting at the time that she was a clerk, then it needs to be brought up. It needs to be brought up, should have been brought up 2 years ago.
Yeah, and that, I'll take the blame on that. I knew when she was going, I mean, something needed to be done there.
Well, from what I've been told is that she can't promote to another position because of the nepotism.
I understand you can't change classification, but we can number pay.
Then that's gonna affect other people classified that's the same as her.
If somebody's doing a job, just because there's some nepotism law there that keeps you from being able to classify her, she's doing the job and not getting paid for it, that's not right either.
The county attorney cannot.
Right.
We as a court
We can
could.
raise her pay.
Right.
I don't know that we can change it.
Right, no, I agree.
But if you raise her pay without classifying her as a chief deputy, what's it gonna do when you do get a chief deputy?
And it's kind of like the district judge did several years ago. He told the treasurer that he would pay his secretary a different pay than what others were getting. And he did. It's, she's doing the job, has been doing it. So I don't see why anyone, just because of a particular technical point, would have a problem with someone, because in every office there, with that classification, they're getting paid chief deputy wages. but because she can't be, for a technical reason, can't be paid or changed to what's considered as a chief deputy, she still is.
Well, the only thing I'm getting at though is it's gonna end up like the health department. You're gonna have the RN making more than the department head.
No, she won't make more than Mike.
No, I'm talking about if they change to another employee to be chief deputy and not her.
There wouldn't be any
more.
There wouldn't be another one. She would be in the position of a chief deputy without the classification.
Well, in the,
He's got a clerk and then he's got a person that's doing a chief deputy job. He never has had more than 2 people in that office, and there's no reason for him to change. And give somebody that'd be up to us as well. I don't see how that would occur.
including employee and last sentence says a performance-based increase cannot increase an employee's salary beyond the maximum of the pay group for that position.
I don't think this is performance either. I think you could look at that in any way that you wanted to. It's not performance, it's actually in a position that other people in this county are getting paid for that she's not. It's not because she's doing more work than what has been done in the past. It's that she is doing the work of a chief deputy, but because of a technical reason, cannot be classified as a chief deputy.
Okay, well, she's classified as a clerk now, correct?
She is.
Okay.
So is the other person that's in that office.
What are the other clerks that's employed by the county? You increase her pay without a position increase, okay? Well, that tell me.
And on the other hand, if there was the same situation in one of those other departments, wouldn't they also want that person that's doing that work for that classification, want that raise maybe? You can look at it both ways again.
You can,
But it's not right for someone doing a chief deputy job and not getting paid for that.
well, I'm not arguing with what.
I mean, it's technical. That's all it is. It's a technical situation.
Yes, it is.
And the department head can't do it, but we can.
We can.
Each one of those other offices has a chief deputy.
Yes, they do.
This one does not. They're already got their person and they're being paid at their classification. This person is doing that same job, but for a technical reason, can't use that classification.
But everybody else that gets chief deputy pay has the classification.
Of course they do, but that's not a technical reason that they can't. But if any office had that situation, would they not also want a person doing a chief deputy job to be paid that? You're assuming, right? Is it not right that you're assuming that someone else is going to be angry because of that person getting paid what they're getting paid already in each and every one of these other offices?
Yeah, but they've all got the classification. That's my point.
I know, but it's a technical reason why she can't.
It is.
So that's whenever we act as a body to make sure that the person that's doing a chief deputy's job gets paid.
Well,
We don't take into consideration other offices that has the same thing already because they don't have that technical problem.
yeah, but they are classified as that.
Yeah, I know. Okay, you can keep her at that rate and be wrong. I mean, that's what you're doing because she's doing the job. And the person prior to her was doing the job and getting paid for that. And she was classified, sure, as a chief deputy.
Yes.
But there's nobody else doing that job or getting paid in that department just because of a technical reason. It doesn't look like you're gonna do it, so whatever you wanna do, that's fine.
Well,
Seems like all 3 of you are feeling like that she shouldn't get paid for doing the job that she's not getting paid for.
you give her that title? In a heartbeat,
Legally, you can't, but legally, we can give her
yes.
the additional. And this is someone who's worked for the county for 18 years,
I know,
who worked worked for him prior to the marriage, okay? Who has been devoted to this department and this county for those 18 years and stepped into a position without asking for anything, any raise, any extra benefit, knowing that he could not promote her, him knowing he couldn't promote her. It's not something that they've asked for. It's something that we as Commissioners Court should see that they can't do anything about it. Something that the right thing to do would be to show her that we do appreciate her and appreciate the job that she stepped into without any additional pay for 2 years so far, and provide that to her as court, showing our appreciation, showing that we do appreciate what she does as the chief deputy that we can't title her as.
I'm not arguing that point with you.
But you're saying you're not gonna do it because of a technicality, basically.
Mhm.
Legally, we could do it.
I'm sure we could.
I just don't see that we can, because the simple fact that it's gonna affect the other employees that are still under her title, under the clerk title. They're not getting a raise.
I've checked into the legalities of it, and it is legal to do as a commissioner.
It has nothing to do with the other departments whatsoever. There's nothing in any statute that says that a person that's doing a job that each and every other department has a chief clerk in. He's not asking for a third person. He's got two. He's willing to stay with two. He's never done it any other way. And the fear of bringing a third person and calling the chief deputy is not even, that's mute. I mean, there's no reason for it. So just, you're saying that because of other, people that are clerks in other offices that aren't the chief deputy clerk, that it would be wrong to do it because of them, but that's not illegal for us to do it. That's what we're here for, is to make right the wrongs that can't be made right by that department head. Do you not believe that she deserves the money because of the job she's doing?
I don't believe that's the topic right now.
It is the topic.
No, not the way I'm looking at it. Like I said, we have other people that are classified as a clerk. And if we give one clerk a raise, then we need to give them all a raise.
That doesn't even make sense, because every other office has a
To
chief
you, it
deputy.
probably doesn't, but to me, it does.
Yeah. Well, it's because you want to keep her down and not being paid for what she's doing. It's a technicality. It's not illegal for us to promote someone up in her pay wise. Jim Allison said that to you.
I've got it right here.
And did he tell you that in that?
Also, it doesn't say in here anything about the other people that are titled the same way as a clerk.
Did you ask that?
No, he didn't ask it. That'd be like you having a foreman that was there for somebody that was kin to you, and you couldn't promote them in name to foreman, but they're doing a foreman's job and you wouldn't want them to be paid as a foreman? That's ridiculous.
I don't think I wouldn't put myself in that situation.
You couldn't help it if you became a commissioner and you'd been working there forever. You couldn't help it.
I do, if I may, I do think that, you need to look at the circumstances surrounding that she was working in that office before, the nepotism was created. And so was Sheila. The office was well established before the nepotism was created. In other cases, in other departments where there is the possibility of nepotism, the nepotism was created after they were hired. So I just want to make that clear that the nepotism was created after.
And she'd been there a full 7 or 8 years before that.
Yeah.
So,
I just want to make sure that's clear in this case, that the circumstances surrounding this nepotism is different than other circumstances of nepotism in the county.
So what happens if he doesn't run again or whatever, and another one comes in and he decides this other clerk, he wants her to be chief?
then that person would make that person the chief deputy, and she wouldn't have that chief deputy pay anymore at that time.
So her pay would drop. That's my big concern, because I don't want it to end up just like the health department.
Didn't Sheila hire, Randy to replace her,
No,
replace Sheila?
no, Sheila didn't hire anybody. Sheila didn't have the ability to hire anybody. That was done by the
Did
county
Sheila not
attorney.
train Randy to replace her?
No, absolutely not. Darcy trained Brandy for the position that she was leaving, because she was taking on the responsibilities that Sheila had.
Also a plug for job descriptions. Job descriptions would be fabulous, because that would show a very clear picture of the duties that were being done by Sheila and who is currently doing this. So that would help answer Jeff's question.
Help your thought process as well. It's not an ideal situation for them or for this court to have to decide that. But it's an important thought process. It's important for us to make this decision. And I think it's important to make it make the decision in favor of the employee who's dedicated 18 years of her life to service to this community. And in that office, well before any nepotism even came into play. She deserves, she knows that office forward, backwards, sideways, inside out. She deserves the chief deputy position, but cannot get it on a technicality. And he is not pushing this. This is something that I brought up, and it's something that I believe in, and I think we need to make right.
We'll figure out how to give her the title, I'm good with it.
It's not possible to give her the title unless legislation changes. So what's your pleasure?
Does I make a motion that we pay Darcy the correct amount of pay that she should be getting already anyway, knowing that there can't be 2 chief deputies in any office because we've never allowed that. And if a chief deputy comes in, or a person comes in, another person gets Mike's office and they want to promote someone chief deputy, knowing that whoever she promotes chief deputy, the other would have to go back to clerk pay. I'll make a motion that we pay her that she should be paid starting now.
That's chief deputy.
As chief deputy,
But without the title.
but without the title.
And I'll second. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. All right, court, consider approval of treasurer's quarterly investment report and the monthly report and the monthly personnel information report. Let's go with all three.
Y'all have any questions for me?
It's looking good, interest is high up.
Yeah,
That is.
it's exciting. I did on the investments and, just to make y'all aware, on the investments and the general bank account, so far this year, we've made, 426,000 in interest. So that is a significant, increase to what we have seen. That should affect budget, for next year. I would consider that. So it looks like we will be right around this for a little bit. Interest rates shouldn't fall back to the zero that we have been seeing for the last several years. So quite a bit of.
I remember when we didn't get the 25 or 30,000 a year off interest.
And now you have 400,000 just as of June.
Right.
So if you look at that,
It continues, we just shy of $1 million.
It's amazing.
it's pretty significant, and it should really help y'all come budget. So I
It's
don't.
more than I've seen.
Yeah, our contract with West Texas State Bank is very favorable. Have a great relationship with them, so that should continue for the next 4 years, possibly 6. So y'all are in a good position. And this is my last one.
I was about to say that.
Yep, your end is coming quick.
Yep,
Is that why you're grinning so much?
always. And, 400,000 additional in
Yeah, six.
interest.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. It's excellent to be able to share that.
Susan say she's gonna go out on positive notes while she
Yeah.
brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good deal.
I'm able to bring y'all significant interest and tell y'all a positive for budget. Win-win.
Very good, very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not just for this, but
Anytime.
for the job we've done.
Does I make a motion to approve the treasurer's investment report, monthly report for June 23, and treasurer's monthly personnel report.
All in favor? Court to discuss and consider the quote for Best Protector Network equipment change out. So you've got two there. The black and white one is the more recent one. He was waiting for more information. And he got that information after we put the packet out. So when we switch over to fiber, we're gonna have to replace the switches and ports and things like that. And they are willing to do that for us. However, it's not free. It's in addition to the contract we have with them. The amount is $28,165.15. When we leave Permianet, they're taking their equipment with them. So, and I did ask them if we could keep it or buy it from them. They would rather use it somewhere else, so.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there a fund that we can take that out of because of?
Fund 29 or,
29, or even, parts of it you could take out of the technology fund, put for it off. Really not a whole lot in that fund because we've already kind of used some of that, but Fund 29 would, because it's basically kind of like an infrastructure part, goes to the fiber.
My point is, we wouldn't have to have that in the budget.
So this is, right,
Yeah,
no,
this-
I mean, it would be in, we would have to pay this coming up soon,
Yeah.
correct? So it would be in this year, and we do have the funds that were revenue budgeted in 29, but no expenses budgeted, so there could be budget amendment to pay for it out of that.
Just don't jump through the hoops on what you're saying. So, sounds like to me when you ain't choice, they're gonna go and get their stuff.
Well, and also with, going to the Navigator or whatever that thing's called now, Enterprise
Enterprise Justice
Odyssey.
Navigator Odyssey, it's all.
Yes, that, they will be, the offices that are going to that or went live are gonna be on cloud too.
Mhm.
So our services, until we get fiber, may slow down dramatically because we're already on cloud and now they're gonna be on cloud. And, I would highly suggest somebody checking our servers to make sure they're backed up so that we don't have the issue that happened in the office on the second floor again, like happened in our offices, so.
Yes, please.
Okay.
When we get that.
It is to the buildings now. They are, Biz Protect is speaking with, Optimum, and they're working on getting, once this is done, then we can move forward with all of that. So, we're basically at that point where this is the last step before we get it next week or two.
So in the transition, the service is gonna slow down until.
It's already slowed down since they
Yeah.
went live. We can tell a lag in code, but I mean,
Until
we know that's gonna happen until we go to fiber.
okay. I'll make a motion to go approve Biz Protect's bid.
So they'll be come getting the equipment from the precinct barns as well. Biz Protect, anything that they've got out there.
They'll be running equipment. Their permanent, I guess, will come and get their
Right,
equipment
and
from
I've
there.
already talked to Jeremy about a solution for that.
Did you made the motion?
Yes.
All right, there's a second. All in favor? All opposed?
Yes,
Court discuss and consider any interlocal agreement with SISD in regards to the baseball field. So, I went to, by invitation to the, school board meeting the other night to discuss with them kind of where they're at, what they're thinking, what we're thinking, on the interlocal agreement with that. You all have a copy of the one that expired in 2016. Obviously, things have gone up since then. And Lance has provided the total cost over, or in average, over the last, was it 10 years, 5 years? I don't remember. I'll pull it up. It's anywhere from 23,500 to 50,000 a year, from that. So when we first discussed, when I first brought it up to him, the idea was a long-term lease. Their concern was the lights. I think we have one light left to finish.
I think there's three,
Three
but we
ones?
bought the materials.
Okay.
And, Primary, Mr. Ashley's, they've agreed to help us install the new, parts to hopefully get those going on those others.
So we're right.
So you're saying it's costing us about 50,000 now?
Roughly a year to, water, paint, fertilizer, top dressing, which is sand, pesticides, aeration, mowing, all those things. It's an average cost over 10 years between 23,500 and 49,500 a year. I did talk to a couple of them. They said that, or when I talked to them, that the board, that the thought was, what can they provide us without money to change hands on this, to make the agreement even, if we decided to go this way. I'd like to go back with them with two ideas. Since we have the lights, right there, once they're finished, I think they'd be more agreeable to a, long-term lease agreement. The lights was the concern. We were talking about $500,000 to replace lights just at Moffett. and the others were 2.5, 250,000, something like
A
that.
couple 100,000, two or three.
So, we were looking at quite a bit of money on that, and they didn't wanna take that. I wouldn't necessarily wanna dump that on them. So, what is your pleasure on, what do you want to offer to them, as an alternative to, long-term lease agreement if they don't wanna do a long-term lease agreement on that?
Well, it sounds like the lights, but they're gonna be taken care of.
So are they paying anything now?
For the current, they pay for half the fertilizer, half the sand when we are buying top dress.
So what is that average a year?
I couldn't say that.
Not much. I mean, be honest,
Because it also says here that they agreed to pay 5,000 toward contract labor. No, never seen that.
last year they
Did
did,
they hire a contract person?
well,
to do it?
they wanted the mound work, the head coach did,
So they,
so I got a quote for that and they paid for that. It was between
So
3,000
there's-
and 4,000 for that.
there
work.
wasn't a trail through it, through the county to know
Uh-huh.
what they did.
And that may have been the first time that ever was when I approached them on that.
And that's probably as much on us as it is on them. We just
Yeah.
haven't brought it to them.
Well, they also charge getting the games. And they
In
charge more
fairness, so
playoff
does
games.
the softball and stuff, and then like the little girl softball games. I don't know so much about baseball. I don't think we had to pay for baseball, but when my daughters were playing softball, we had to pay to get in the gate.
Still do.
They don't pay to use that field.
Exactly.
Little League, you don't have to pay to get in, you just go and sit down and watch it. So
So they're making money and we're not.
I know, like and this are at schools, football games, basketball games, stuff like that, where you have the little kids playing, they pay, but that goes to the booster or the board of whoever, like the Little League board and to help buy supplies for that. It doesn't, the school allows them to use those things free of charge as long as they take care of it, but this is not a school, it's a county. And the only one that I know of, softball doesn't pay us anything. When we have, sometimes when there's a weekend tournament that comes out, sometimes if they're outside schools, not from here or outside places, then they will pay for that, but that's pretty much it.
And when I was talking to, Mr. Rao, as far as gates, they don't make a whole lot at the gate, to my understanding.
No, they make more than what he thinks. But they really do.
Well, and, in the end, they don't have a clue what they make. But in the end, the county is footing all but the bill, 99% of the bill. They're getting to keep the revenue. And they pay for half fertilizer and half the sand, which cannot be. I mean, fertilizer's high now, but that can't be a whole lot. I just think that we, as a county, for this whole time, never how long, and it's the nature of the beast, have taken very good care of the ball fields. And they don't have a clue how much they profit or anything. They have been reaping the benefits. And I understand that taxpayers in this town, some of them utilize the ball field because their kids play baseball, blah, 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 and all that. don't know that it needs to be much of a swamp. But we get the lights fixed. What if we go back to them as it stands now? Okay. And see what they say. And if they don't want to do it, they're gonna, for lack of a better term, they're gonna come up with something else. And can we?
Go back to them with what? With a long-term lease agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
And if they don't want to do that, they might possibly say this, that, and the other. I don't know what we would.
Right, and that, okay, so, and that's what I asked them, what would you want to, and they didn't have any option, or any thoughts at the time.
Yeah,
So, they say, go back to Commissioner's Court, see what Commissioner's Court wants. And you tell me to go back to them and ask them.
I know, but, you know, because I don't have a clue, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea of the long-term lease agreement. And the reason we would have to do a lease agreement is because when that was deeded to Scurry County, it states that if it's ever sold or given away or done away with, the whole property, all of Toll Park goes back to the family.
Yes, I do remember that, and I don't have a problem with
Yeah.
the lease.
Okay.
How long a lease you talking about?
20, 25 years. And I have checked on that. It is legal to do that.
Yeah, so what's gonna change within that lease? Are we still gonna be,
We would maintain the parking lot because they can't, and they would maintain everything inside the fences.
in the park department wouldn't have to do anything?
Correct. They would be out of it.
Did they, how they?
And that's just for Moffett Field?
To do what?
To take care of the field.
I wouldn't think so.
That's
Okay, no, that would be something that possibly we would have to discuss. I'm sorry, what was your question?
Was that just for Moffett Field or is that for Catesville?
Moffett and
Moffett?
Kate's
Okay.
and the two softball fields. Moffett and the two softball, Kate's and Kate's
All
one
those
and
right
two.
there
I don't know
on
what
that
the,
side.
So pretty much all of them,
And not the Little
not
League
the,
and the
not the
Farm
Little
League
League,
and all that.
not the Farm League, not the Pixie.
but they're,
Is it the Pixie?
But all the ones that are on that side of the, where Moffett Field is
Other
and
than
then the
that
park.
small one, yeah,
the four major ones,
3.
three.
So,
Okay.
so they would be paying the utilities as well?
So we would have to look at that. Yeah, I think that's something that we would have to determine in the lease agreement.
But that's only during season, right?
Well,
Well,
no,
no,
if
they
it's
would
leased,
make
then they
that.
would pay it the whole time. I
Yeah.
mean, this is not the same thing. It's an airport hangar versus a baseball field. But we have a company who has a lease agreement on one of our hangars and they pay the water for it. So we send a bill to them and then they send us back the money. So it could be essentially that same way, or depending on how the meters are set up over there, they could have it put in their own.
Yeah, they would have to,
So when we,
because
go ahead.
that's connected with our other stuff.
So we would be able to just bill them for those.
Yeah, they would have to. And our water's a major concern, that they wouldn't be able to pull out of the pond, out of our irrigation if that did happen. Because we need to have control over our water, our well water and our.
So how are you gonna keep them from not doing that?
Maybe a percentage.
They would have to redesign and either drill a well or use city water.
So maybe a percent instead, then maybe a percentage of the utility for it to be able to bill them a percentage.
I would be very concerned about if we gave them free rein to pump out our pond and wells. Not saying they would abuse it, but.
So when we first started these discussions, it's been 2 or 3 years now since we did. We kind of came up with some guidelines. So Scurry County will maintain the asphalt surfaces of the parking lot, use the material storage behind Moffett for the other ball fields, supply water for irrigation as long as needed. Do we want to meter this water or set a monthly fee? These are that's a question that came up during that. Consultation on infrastructure for the gas, water, sewer, septic, electric, etc. Name of the fields would remain the same, and then we would control the delivery of the irrigation water. Control of the delivery or of irrigation water will be the responsibility of the county and only during working hours. So you would have control of what water they got and when they got it. The school would maintain all facilities and infrastructure inside designated boundaries except as listed above: sewer, water, septic, water, gas, electric, outbuildings, scoreboards, lights, and garbage. Pay county for water usage annually or monthly, metered or set fee. Electricity paid by the school and meters in school name. Those are all big country. They would provide insurance. Maybe both entities should maintain coverage. Receive and maintain all bookings and rentals. Continue or new agreements with clubs that use the fields. The billboard fund, currently county requests funds from billboard funds when something is needed for the fields. This would go to SISD, and they would provide their own mowers and field maintenance equipment.
Okay, the only thing, let's say we do whatever, and they use our irrigation.
Mhm.
And the pump goes down. Who is they gonna fall
Good question.
Well, if we metered it, then we could recoup, I mean, that could go into a fund for that purpose.
on? True. And, you know, you never know when you're gonna have issues with the well. And
Sure.
care.
But that well doesn't just do the fields, does it? It does.
No, it runs the entire length of the park.
So it would be ours.
Okay. So that would be, in an instance where we would need to meter the water that they use for the ball fields.
Potentially.
And I mean, I'm sure you have to do your watering in zones, so there's gonna have to be some kind of agreement of
I think that's
when
why I
they
said-
water versus when you
Yeah,
water.
we would have to definitely work a schedule out, for sure.
I think that's why it said the control of delivery of irrigation water.
Mhm.
So you would basically control that option.
And who pays for the meter? And the repair of, or maintenance of? I mean, you're probably talking about a 3-inch meter or 4-inch meter, you're probably talking $20,000. Depending on if it's a smart meter or just a,
Split the cost, maybe?
I mean, that's something that needs to be considered. And are we talking about, because you said something about lights, are we talking about us installing new lights?
No, not anymore. No. They've been repaired,
And they
except
like,
for 3 of them.
yeah, like 3, and apparently primary is gonna help them with them, so, you know, save us $500,000. Sounds like to me that we need to check into what a meter would cost. Because actually that is the only way to make it fair for both parties, okay? That way we know how much they use.
Okay. And I would suggest splitting the cost on that.
But let's see what it costs.
Yeah.
Well, the meter would be
Well,
just
if
for
we're
them, it would be for
Yeah, if we're gonna
anything
give
we would
them
use.
the ballpark, we don't want, if they're gonna be responsible, we don't wanna pay for half the water.
No,
But
not
just
paying
the
for
meter.
half the
No,
water.
he meant
for the meter.
half the meter.
For the meter.
And I like what you've read, some of those, I'd like a copy of that to kind of go over it, where I can sit down, and look at it, and say, add what we want to.
Well, I think with the exception of the meter, of course, we put a meter on it keep the well repaired. And let it empty.
I don't think so, especially since we water other areas.
Right. So I didn't realize that it was all one. Maybe I don't.
But if we're gonna pay part of the meter, we ought to also then pay for part of the well pump if one goes out. I mean, we're both using it, only they are using the meter. And the reason it's there so we can find out how much they're using and maybe charge a reasonable fee.
Well, only if we didn't charge them for the water, we still need a meter. If we didn't charge them for water, I would think it would be a 50-50 split if you have to put a pump in it or whatever. But if we do charge them for the water, it would fall on us.
Okay. If that's the way you write it, sure.
And, because,
I mean, you're gonna have to charge them more for water because of the pump and the meter, maintenance, replacement. Or you charge them less and they pay for part of the well. That has, it happens pretty often, seems like.
Okay, we can get into the details of that. I'll send you all what I have so far and let you take a look at it. But as far as the backup plan, if they say no to a long-term lease agreement, think about that some more and we'll come up with some ideas. Look at this, see what you think, and come up with some ideas on what we can, how we can make it equitable to both. And we'll come back to that. I'll bring that, we're coming back next week, so I'll put it back on the agenda for next week. Is that fair?
sounds like Lindex, are you gonna check on the meter?
Yes. Yeah, I'll check on
We don't have some left at Conway Water Works.
that. Don't know if we have one there.
Certainly know what
You
it
know
would
what
be.
size line it is that goes over there?
I think we got, I'll have to check it for you. I think
Okay.
it's 4 inch.
You know how big a pump it is?
Well, we have a 15 horse pump in the well, then we also have the pump out of the pond as well. I think that's a 10 horse.
But anyway,
All right, court to consider certification of additional revenues in the form of proceeds from ag fuel.
This is another additional 50,000 that he pulled down from the fuel account that we have. Certifying to go into miscellaneous revenue, and there is a request, I think it's on here,
Yes, ma'am.
to put it into the Texas Class Airport Fund to help continue to build that up, so we can get that. They're getting closer and closer to doing the runway for the TxDOT thing, so we've gotta get our amount in for that.
I'll make the motion that we the additional revenues from ag fuel for the airport and that we place it into Texas Class Airport Fund.
Second.
All in favor? Court to consider certification of additional revenues in the form of proceeds from tax payment from Coyote Wind LLC.
This is for payment for 21 and 22. They had not paid, there was apparently some miscommunication or misunderstanding. They thought we would send them a bill. I don't send bills on tax payments. They sign that in the agreement of when they're supposed to pay it, October of every year and all of that. But I will be sending him a bill, so make sure we get paid every year. But this was $377,520.
Is the megawatts different than what they originally, is that why it's
Yes.
less? Okay.
Yes, there was, I have there's only 242 estimated megawatts, and they have not sent me what their final number is, and I do need that from them, but I can only bill off of what was on that abatement agreement, and that's what's in that agreement.
Okay.
So it's 188,760 for each year. It should, if their actual megawatts are more, then it will be more.
Okay, and that was the, okay. The 780 per megawatt was what we,
That was what's in the agreement.
Okay.
And then I can't remember what it is after, from year 6 to 10. That's from 135,
gotcha.
and then it goes up 6 to 10.
Okay.
Will we not if they have more bigger turbine generators? Will we have to amend the tax abatement agreement to make it reflect that if it's more than what's even?
Yeah, and the reason I'm saying that is it looks, when I looked at it, I looked at a different part of it where it was,
You probably looked at I think it's 1242 a megawatt or
Yeah.
something like that, which is the 6 through 10 year.
Yeah.
Part,
And I think
the
that's what
second portion of it. It's always lower the first 5 years, and then it goes up the second 5 years.
Right.
But it does say in their estimated megawatts, they're supposed to get me the final megawatt numbers, but I'm happy to have only gotten payment from them. So now that I have a contact of who I can get, I will try to get actual megawatts for the one that I'll send to them in October for 2023.
And that'll be, we won't have to redo the tax abatement.
Right.
It'd just be according to the megawatt.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we approve additional revenues from tax abatement continually under LLC.
Second.
Coyote.
Sorry.
There is
We got a
canyon
canyon
win,
win.
but that's not.
Motion to second, all in favor. All right, court, consider approval of line item transfers and budget amendments.
There's one line item transfer, no budget amendment. This is for the tax office into 1,500 into education and training, out of office supplies. The conference and training fees have increased across the board. Also adding an additional employee to go for trainings for certification.
Motion, we approve the line item transfer.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Accounts payable.
815,781.53 plus 15,957.77 for City Bank.
Take the credit cards away, we'll do
Well, then they would not pay turning their other stuff in time, so.
that. Make motion to approve bills.
That's at least that.
All in favor? Okay, we're gonna take about a 2-3 minute break, and then we'll come back and go into executive session.
Do you want to sign these titles or wait until we decide what to do? Because these are the two on the van.
Yes.